Ladies and gentlemen, oh boy, it is Sunday, December 4th, 2022, and this is episode 2 of Here's the Thing, hosted by me, masoncvengros. Guys, what is up? What is up? What is up? Hope you guys are having a great end to your weekend. It is 7:07 p.m. Central here in Wisconsin. I don't know what time it is in your neck of the woods, but hey, hello. I promised to you guys that episode 2 is going to be a little more organized, a little bit more thought out, more planned out versus episode 1, and I am going to deliver with that. We're going to start off, we're going to get right into it. We're going to jump right in to our topics. We're going to start with sports, and man, since it's Sunday and the Packers got a huge dub against the Chicago Bears in Chicago, Illinois at Soldier Field. Man, this game, I was able to watch it when I got home from my day job, and the defense is still bad. this defense is still bad. The Packers defense is still trash, but Jair Alexander came up when he needed to. So that was huge for us. Very, very huge. Aaron Rodgers looked good. He didn't have to do much. He looked okay. Christian Watson looked incredible. Listen, I will go on record and I will admit that I had my doubts about Christian Watson in the beginning. I definitely had my doubts, but man, he's looked so good. He's looked incredible. That guy has breakaway speed. I'm talking breakaway speed and strength. He reminds me of a young Julio Jones, is really what he reminds me of. Yeah, he's just incredible, and he was able to get it done. He and Jair Alexander, Jair with that pick, and then Watson with that run into the end zone. Man, able to seal it for the Packers. They are now 5-8 on the year. The Bears fall to 4-10, or is it worse than that? I can't remember, dude. But they're bounced from the playoff contention. I just saw that on Twitter. I also saw on Twitter that Rob Demovsky, senior NFL beat writer for ESPN and the Packers, he tweeted this, the ultimate gut punch, which we already knew already, but he said, before you get too excited about what Sunday's win does for the Packers, consider this. They still have just a 4.8% chance of making the playoffs per ESPN stats info. Jeez, thanks, Rob. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for keeping things in perspective. Can't we just celebrate a little bit? Everybody kind of knew that was the case, but damn, Rob. Let Packer fans celebrate, dude. There hasn't been much celebrating going on this year in 2022 for the Green Bay Packer fans. Okay? Let us celebrate at least a little. We just beat the Bears to become the all-time winningest franchise in NFL history. Is that what the stat is? Goddamn, dude. Let us celebrate. I told my friend when I got home, I'm not worried about playoff math right now. That shit makes my brain hurt anyway. I'm just happy that the Packers got a dub. That's all. I don't care about the other stuff right now. I don't even know how all that math works. So as far as that's concerned, I'm riding the wave with that. I'm just happy that we got a dub. Okay? That's one down. So, yeah, man. Harken back to Christian Watson just for a little bit, man. Like I said, I have my doubts, you guys, but man, is he becoming that dude. I mean, just named Offensive Player of the Month. That's a big feat for a rookie. Fast. I saw a stat on Twitter earlier in the day today that he averaged over 20 miles an hour on a run today, tying Deshaun Jackson, I think, for the fastest speed this season by a receiver. Holy crap. I mean, granted, that's not Tyreek Hill speed, but damn, for a dude of Christian Watson's size to have that kind of speed, that's terrifying for defenses. Ours especially. Because ours is just trash. Did we allow 400 yards rushing today for the Bears? Yeah, no. Joe Barry, I'm sorry, dude, but your scheme's just not working. He's got to go at the end of the year. He's got to go. When we are either mathematically done from playoff contention or just at the end of the year in general, Joe Barry's got to go. He's got to be the first person to walk out that door. I'm sorry. Matt LaFleur can be all Mr. Nice Guy all he wants and say all the politically correct things, but man, Joe Barry's scheme is just not working. Jair Alexander is lucky that he got that interception. We are lucky that he picked that off. That's just a football player. That's just a professional football player making a professional football play. And thank God he did, because the way that game was looking, if Jair did not intercept that Justin Fields pass, it was not looking good for us. So that's all I got to say about that. As I take a swig of my coffee. For sports, that's basically all I've got, man. I was going to talk about the Bucks, but they don't play again until... I mean, they got a win last night. It's good. They're doing great this year. But they don't play again until tomorrow. They got the Magic in Orlando. Should be a fun game. Magic aren't the greatest team in the league, but it's always fun when the Bucks and Magic take each other on. It's always a good battle. Let's flip over. Let's go to entertainment, shall we? Let's go to entertainment. I got a question the other day. Am I a fan of The Office? And if so, who's my favorite character? Well, let's talk about The Office first as a show. Ricky Gervais started it in Britain, right? Is that where it originated, I think? Ricky Gervais. I'm pretty solid on that. I think I watched an episode of the British version. Not good. The humor is really not that great. The American version is way better, obviously. I mean, it lasted for longer. Classic. I have the whole disc set. Sound like a nerd. Oh, I have the whole disc set. Oh, you have the whole disc set? Nerd. All 9 seasons? Yep, all 9 seasons. Oh, God. No, but all of the actors play their characters so well on that show. So well. You know, everybody from John Krasinski to Steve Carell, Rainn Wilson, Jenna Fisher. God, you should do your research a little bit before Mason. Yes, I was pretty confident in that, but I wanted to Google confirm. Jenna Fisher, who played Pam. Yes. Everybody played their role perfectly on that show. Like, I don't think there is one character better than the other, one actor or actress better than the other. They're all even. Even Steven. Isn't that a Disney Channel show? Shia LaBeouf. Yeah. They're all even to me. But man, if I were to choose a favorite character, does it have to be just one? Let's make a table. And this is just a rough table. Oh, man. I'm going to be leaving out many characters, I know, but I'm just going to make a top 5. Okay, I'm going to make a top 5 of favorite characters. Number 5, for me... Oh, God. Number 5 for me is probably going to have to be... Oscar. He's a pretty solid 5. He was funny. Not the funniest, but he was a good character. Number 4 for me. God, who would be number 4? Probably Pam. You know, she just... I don't know. I don't really know what to say about Pam. I mean, she was funny. She was a funny character. You know, was Jim's wife, obviously. I don't know. Nothing but good things to say about her. I just can't think of anything right now. That sounds really bad. She was a good character. She's number 4 in the top 5. Okay, cut me some slack. Number 3, probably Dwight, played by Rainn Wilson. Probably Dwight. He's just the perfect person to match wits with Jim. I mean, he was just the perfect character and the perfect person to play that character. So, yeah, Dwight's probably number 3 for me. Number 2, man, that gets tough. This is where it gets tough. Top 2 is where it gets tough. I'm going to have to drink a little bit of Joe to kind of figure this out. Because on one hand, you got Jim, right? You got Jim, played by John Krasinski, and then you've got Michael, played by Steve Carell. Man, but as far as characters, oh boy, I want to say Jim, but then again, there's so many good qualities between these two. Like Jim had the stares at the cameras, like the those kind of things. But then Michael had all of the just the ridiculous things. He was such a horrible boss. Oh my God, dude. I don't know, man. The fact that I can't change this list either, otherwise I'll look like a scared person. You know what? We're gonna go Jim to Michael 1. Now everybody's gonna say like, "Oh my God, that's of course that's what you would." No. Listen, hear me out. They're so even to me that one person, that saying in sports, one team has to lose. One person has to be second. One person has to be first. Jim, Michael. That's my top 5. That's my top 5. Michael, Jim, Dwight, Pam, Oscar. Now, a lot of people would say, well, why not Kevin? Kevin's probably number 6 for me. Brian Baumgartner, is that his name? Yeah. Friends with Aaron Rodgers. So, he's just funny. Like I said, every character on that show is good, is perfect. It's just, they're so even that it's tough to list them. You know what I mean? It's tough to rank them. So, great show, great characters, great actors. That's why it's always going to be a classic. Always going to be a classic. My mom and I both agree that the chemistry wasn't quite there, and it didn't do as well. It kind of started to fall off, as with any show. But with that one especially, with how successful it was when Steve Carell left that show, that hurt it. That hurt it bad. They tried to fill in with a couple of guys here and there. Ashton Kutcher was one for like an episode. That didn't work at all. I can't even remember the names of the other guys that they tried to have in there for a while. But yeah, it wasn't the same. But they wrapped it up pretty well. As well as they could have, I would say, in the final episode of the show. So that's my take on that. Great show, great characters, great actors. Moving onward, we've got for the 90s kids. I apologize to any people that are younger than me at this point in time or older. But this is for the 90s kids. As I referenced in episode 1, I was born in 93. I'm a 90s kid. So this is kind of directed towards my 90s kid counterparts. BSB, Backstreet Boys versus NSYNC. Which side are you on? Before I tell you which side I'm on, if I even have a side, let's kind of break down the differentials and stuff. Let's kind of get into it deeper. The differentials between BSB and NSYNC, which there aren't many. They're pretty even. They're pretty even as far as groups. But let's take a look at them individually first as groups. First of all, the one that really jumps out to you the most current day, NSYNC is not a band anymore. They're not a group any longer. Backstreet Boys are still going. Almost 30 years strong. It'll be 30 years together next year. NSYNC broke off, I think it was like 2002, when Justin Timberlake decided to go his own way, solo way, which obviously it worked out for him. But yes, Backstreet Boys are still a group. NSYNC, like I said, Not a group any longer. A reunion? I doubt it. A reunion between the two bands for a tour? Maybe. That would be pretty dope, pretty cool, pretty sick. But a reunion just as far as NSYNC together as a group again, I don't want to sound slanderish or slightish, but at this point in their careers, the way Justin is going solo-wise and the ages at which, I mean, they're still young. I mean, look at the Backstreet Boys. Like I said, they're still doing it, but that's a lot of reconditioning, man, for those other group members of NSYNC, JC, Chris, Lance, and Joe. That's a lot. It could happen, though, man. Who am I to say? I'm just a fan. But yes, differentials. Other than that one, Backstreet Boys. In their group, among the five, Brian, Kevin, Howie, AJ, Nick. Want to make sure I got the names right. They all had an opportunity to shine vocally in that group on a song. You know, they all sang. They all had parts. That's not to say NSYNC didn't. There were a few songs that they did. But predominantly for NSYNC, it was JC and Justin taking the front lines on that group. You know, they were the front guys. And the other, Lance, Joey, and Chris kind of took a back seat. Wait a minute. Oh my God, I'm having a brain fart. Joey, Lance, Chris, just okay, yeah. I was like, I'm forgetting somebody. Okay. Anyway, so that's the other differential that I see in those two bands. You know, again, BSB, every group member had an opportunity to shine. NSYNC, predominantly JC and Justin. It's not that the other members in NSYNC didn't put any effort in, because they did. They worked their asses off. You can damn well be assured of that. It was just they kind of took a back seat vocally in songs to Justin and JC, whereas BSB, like I keep saying, they all had an opportunity to shine. That's really the only two differences. I feel if you're wanting to go kind of stylistically, BSB's style, they weren't necessarily, that bubble gum pop. Their songs were kind of darker. NSYNC was kind of, they dressed in basketball, the 90s fashion, basketball jerseys, and they were the kind of the bubble gum kind of stuff. I guess that changes with album to album to album, but you know what I'm saying. Stylistically, there was some differences. If you're looking at what makes them kind of even, skills. These two groups had skill. I mean, every member could sing their asses off. Their vocals were great. And it really shows when they did a cappella. Man, without any instruments, these groups shined in a cappella. Absolutely shined, and it was amazing to see. I'm very fortunate that I was able to grow up in that time frame, because I went to an NSYNC concert when I was younger. That was technically my second concert ever. My first concert ever was a Wallflowers concert. A lot of young people younger than me are going to be like, who? And even some people that were 90s kids my age are going to be like, wait, Wallflowers, who was that again? But no, that was my first concert. And then NSYNC at the Target Center, Minneapolis, Minnesota, was my second concert. The Target Center. Nosebleed section. That was a part of their celebrity tour. I got the book right over there. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm pointing to my bookshelf over there. You can't see out of frame. But yeah, man, very, very fortunate to have grown up in that time era. Oh yeah, then Backstreet Boys concert, Vegas, 2017, their Vegas residency. So I got to see both legendary groups perform. Very fortunate. And nowadays, you look at boy bands, you're like, oh. I mean, the boy bands nowadays are what? BTS, 5 Seconds of Summer, Jonas Brothers. And they're kind of different. You know, they're not necessarily the prototypical 90s boy bands where they do all the dancing and they have, you know, an actual band behind them. You know, the Jonas Brothers, you got, you know, one of them playing, is it Kevin, playing the guitar? And then and Nick and Joe are doing most of the singing. 5 Seconds of Summer, not quite as familiar with them. But I feel like maybe they do some instruments as well, and they don't really have a band. And then BTS, the Korean pop band, I can never get into that. I'm nothing against them. They're talented. I've heard a couple of their songs. I can tell they have great vocals, but I just could never get into that. I don't know why. It's not for everybody, I guess. It's one of those situations. That's all I had for entertainment and sports. Other than that, I really didn't have anything else to talk about. I wanted to talk about, you know, the sports because I knew that when I was recording this, the Packers will have played their game. I was hoping it would be a dub, and it was. And then entertainment, I had The Office, favorite character, and then BSB versus NSYNC. BSB just came out with their first ever Christmas album. A very Backstreet Christmas, I think is what it's called. So that's pretty cool that they're actually just coming out with that now. Shows you how busy they've been as a band. So if anything, that's what it shows you. Man, what else can we talk about? What else can we talk about on this episode 2 of Here's the Thing with Mason's Fingers? I mean, I could look at my phone as to what we could talk about in my camera roll. Maybe we'll refresh some things in my memory. Nothing really. Nothing really. Oh, I was watching this YouTube video. I watch so much YouTube that it's almost disgusting. My recommended page ends up, you know, it's like it gives up on itself. It's like, oh my God, you're watching so much YouTube. What am I going to, you know? There was this video that popped up where these, this group of people went to Michael Jackson's grave in L.A., or the place where it's at, the mausoleum, and they were outside of it, and they were doing like this, you know, ghost hunters have these things where you can like talk to the ghosts of the people, and then it talks. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what it's called. Maybe that'll be for a different time. But it scared the crap out of me. You know, I don't know where you guys stand on ghosts and, you know, bringing back or being able to talk to people that are, you know, have passed. I don't know where you guys are with on it. It scares the crap out of me. I kind of verge on the side of not believing in that stuff, but I have to in a way, right? Because when I watch that stuff, it gives me the chills. It creeps me out, dude. Because some of the things that come back on those apps, whether they're real or not, some of the responses they kind of match with what they're asking. It's very creepy. It's very cringy, very creepy. Gives me the chills. Makes me sweat sometimes. We'll get into that deeper in the next episode, maybe. That's what I'll put in here. It'll be a good thing to have. But this is going to be another short one. I got to really, you know, come up with a lot more topics. But, you know, we're just kind of starting out. This is episode 2. So hopefully as this show grows, we'll get more suggestions about topics for us to discuss and talk about. And we'll just feed off of that. We're just chugging right along. We're like a roller coaster. We're ascending that hill, and eventually we'll get going. So, yeah, that does it for episode 2, you guys. That does it for episode 2 of Here's the Thing with Mason's Fangirls. If you guys liked this, again, subscribe to my YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the podcast on any streaming platform that you may be listening to it on. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in to these shows. Like I said in the last episode, I really want this to kind of take off because I have a blast doing this, and it's only going to get better with more topics, more time, longer episodes. We'll be golden. And again, if you have any suggestions of topics that you have for us to discuss, that you want us to discuss, leave them in the comment section of whatever you're watching me on and listening to the show on. Much appreciated. Helps out the show, helps out the podcast, and we'll be rocking and rolling. So thank you guys so much. Love you, appreciate you, all love, and as always, stay safe. It's a crazy world out there. Peace out, guys. Much love.